Is there a difference in how you perform when you're performing in a different language?
Well, I don't understand Macedonian. I mean, I knew the whole script by heart. I knew every other line because I knew what people were saying and I knew my cue. And I had the impression for a short while that I was understanding Macedonian. Of course, I forgot everything.
And with an ensemble like that, there are people with very different experiences and formations. How is it for you when you're working with actors from all those different traditions?
You mean from the film or
from this film?
From this film, yeah. Most of the main characters were not professional actors. It was very brave of Goran. That's one of the reasons I was very doubtful about being able to make this movie, especially because there was a child.
Mm-hmm.
You know, his film, I think, is beautiful, and people are in awe of these young actors to be, I guess.
And but that presumably takes a great deal of technique from you to kind of put yourself in their zone, or to how do you build a performance?
I mean, with them, we were living basically in that same house. I don't think you judge your colleague, your friend anymore. We were all making the same film, so at some point, I think any line was blurred between us. With Mia, the child, Jada in real life, we knew that we have to kind of follow her. And Naum, who's our amazing DOP, was following her all the time. So we were ready at any point. For me, it was a bit more difficult because I cannot improvise in Macedonian. But still, we were ready to go every single moment. I mean, during lunch, no matter when she was doing something interesting, we were ready to jump in and do something. There was a lot of improv in the film.
And is that something that you enjoy, generally speaking? Do you like improvising?
At all. I'm a control freak. But I have to. I didn't like it in school, but then I ended up teaching it for a number of years. Mm-hmm. So I don't know how I spoke Macedonian. I was looking at myself. I have no idea. Most of the things you do, I mean, I do out of fear, I suppose.
So what's the best thing and the worst thing about being an actor?
This question comes too late in my life. There's no way I can go back and change something, and do something else. The best thing, I don't know, for me it was traveling, I suppose. Getting to live somewhere else. In a different culture, having this impression that you can express yourself, that you can live different lives. I don't know. It was it was not a choice that I made. Really, I went to the movies. I kind of knew I wanted to make movies. I did theatre before. I used to be a violinist. I studied classical music and. I think I shocked Mum and Dad when I announced, like a month before, we have a big contest to enter the uni in Romania, and I decided to follow this kind of path. My dad is an actor, and it was a no. So my father didn't. He said he wouldn't stop me, but he didn't want me to become an actor. I wouldn't let my children become actors. But I wouldn't stop them. I'm not sure. I'm not my father. Maybe I would stop them. It's a very difficult profession, like many others.
But the relationship between music and performance, or performance musically and performance on stage or on film, seems very important, and particularly important to you.
Yeah, it's kind of a reflex, because I started reading and I started making music at the same time. I was 6 and I went to school and I started studying music. So reading a text for me is like reading a score, and I kind of feel the rhythm. I think musically, because that's what I had to learn when I was little. So it became a reflex. So for me, being on stage, I've been on stage since I was 4, performing. First violin, and then I became an actress. But my thinking is the same. And I think I started loving music more and understanding it better when I started theatre. It's paradoxical maybe, but I started understanding music much better when I studied theatre.
And so do you, when you receive a script, you said you think about it a bit like a score. So what do you do?
Yeah, because scores, I mean, you study form, you know, you have a sonata, you have all these forms, and you kind of see the patterns. And without knowing much about reading a script or looking at a text, I kind of thought of it like I thought of a score. So then I started reading about script writing and writing in general, because everybody was asking me what do I think about their writing. I didn't have, you know, an idea. All I have was instinct.
But once you commit both kind of intellectually and with that other part of your performing brain or body or...
Yeah, I tried to leave the intellect at the door. Also, there are blockages, you know, especially when I remember doing Shakespeare here, Measure for Measure, 8 times a week. And I was crying. Actually, my Angelo is there. And at some point, I couldn't cry anymore. I didn't know what to do. And of course, having studied Stanislavski, I can't fake it. So I have to feel that I'm doing it for real. Otherwise, I get mad at myself. And at the National Theatre, I found a piano somewhere. And for some reason, I thought maybe if I do something very different, meaning I would play and I would concentrate on what I was playing, then maybe I would clear my mind and I wouldn't put so much pressure on myself. And it worked. Because always the first few weeks are good, and then for me, there's a valley of tears. Well, not obviously, because I couldn't cry. And then with that, just doing something completely different. But that's another planet to go to. Music has always been obviously a refuge. It's a bit of a cliche, but it has been something to make me not think anymore. I have to stop thinking when I'm playing. I think for me that's what works.
So not thinking because you're being? Not
playing, basically. I write on all my scripts NTP, nothing to play. Nothing. I learned that from Sarah Kane. Yeah, mm-hmm. She when I was very young, I translated this amazing text, 448 Psychosis, and I read a lot about Sarah because I was very fascinated by her. Maybe very young and very impressed with her fate and everything she's written, and I found this very interesting. And from then on, now I have to. I write NTP, so nothing to play. Yeah, it's basically don't act. I tell myself you can't act, you mustn't.
Well, there's a song, I've Got Plenty of Nothing, and there was an awful lot of nothing and an incredibly powerful nothing, I think. Lots of different nothings which come to be a lot of something.
One of my best lessons came from a very good friend of mine, a French director I worked in theatre with. And I played at the not Royal Court, the Young Vic, 448 in English. And he was asking me, and it took me a long time to understand that you have to come from a void. You have to come from nothing. Come from nothing. Don't play. I was like, what do you mean nothing? I was staying there, you know, trying to work myself up. And then, with time, I hope I understood. I don't know, I'm trying. But it's what works the best in the end for me.
And do you learn from watching other performers and other actors, or do you just commit
I steal a lot, especially when I was young, I stole everything. I fell in love with Brad Pitt, and that's why I became an actress. I mean, artistically, obviously. And then I said, I can, well, I want to make a film with him, and I did. I mean, I used to talk to his poster on my best friend's door.
Okay, which poster was it?
Well, it was Legends of the Fall. Yeah, but I remember, I was 15 and we would go to the movies and and I asked her when I did the Fury with him, I asked her if she had the poster because she needed to send it to me so he can sign it for us. Yeah, it's somewhere lost in the attic somewhere. But
Oh dear, right. Well, that's, I have to say, as I was, you are on the wall of the gents' toilet in the Curzon.
thank you, cousin.
And now, like, along with a Palme d'Or and a BAFTA, and you are, I would say, you're looking towards the corridor, not in any other
Exit, exit.
But it struck me as something. Maybe you can tell your family back home or whatever.
Yeah, I think I'll take a picture when I get out. So we'll see. Well, if you go to the loo, I'll be there.
But that is also, of course, a tribute to, there have been a lot of Palme d'Or winning films, but there aren't that have been shown here, but the kind of iconic image from 4 months, 3 weeks and 2 days. But it seems to me, looking back now, you were, it was really transformational, I think, not just for Romanian cinema, but actually for cinema somehow. And I remember at one point you talking about kind of where the actor interprets the script, but also where the actor is kind of guiding the script or guiding it. And it seemed to me that there was a really extraordinary relationship that you had, and perhaps I think the character in the film still has with the audience, of kind of and the relationship of being ready to be what the character is. What was that process like?
Well, I was good. I mean, I got very close to Christian for 432. We just clicked when we met, and we didn't talk a lot because there was not much time. But then he asked me to look at the takes. I had done this not a lot in the beginning when I started filming. I wanted to see, but then I realized I don't like myself. So it was very difficult to look at myself. And then I learned to be forgiving. And now I'm just searching for a glimpse of truth so I can forget about how I look and, see if that's true to me. So we were two pairs of eyes looking, for example, with Christian. But the kind of complicity between us and the friendship with the other actors, I think it helped a lot. And we would change things in the morning. I remember I didn't have a trailer. We were in Christian's car, it was cold. And the night before, we would change things in the script, or we would come with ideas. And most of the times we would have changed the same things without talking. So meetings like that, encounters like this in life mattered to me a lot. Goran came to me when he was very young. He's an Australian, born in Macedonia, but he left Macedonia when he was 8. He wrote the script in English. Then he had it translated in Macedonia. And he came to me, he wanted to meet me in London. And we talked about life. He gave me something he wrote. He had been trying to become a director and to really do feature for 17 years. By the time he managed to do this. And then in a few years, I encouraged him and became friends. And in a few years, he had an amazing short in Sundance. And he got the main award. And then he got to do his next 3 features in 2 years, I think. Wow. So 2 of them were with me. Yeah, and the other one was in Australia. So with him as well, yeah, we're very good friends, and we have a history together, as I have with Christian.
Because it was very interesting what you said about changing the same thing, or that sense of being in sync. And I also thought what you said about watching rushes and learning to be kind, because
To
it
oneself.
does to oneself, but also it feels that kindness is also something which I think is part of your performances, both to be very brave, but somehow to be very kind or generous about the characters you're playing, even as they're making difficult choices or dangerous choices or choices that...
I played baddies too. I'm very proud of that. My friend Vlad Ivanov saw me in I think it was Maigret, and I'm very changed there. I have a black curly hair, and he wouldn't understand. He wouldn't recognize me, and he called me a few weeks ago because that's when it was on TV. He said I didn't recognize. Vlad Ivanov is by the way, the abortionist in 4 months, 3 weeks and 2 days, and he's one of my best friends as well.
Maybe it's time, perhaps people have warmed up. There are other questions that people would like to ask Anamaria about pretty much anything. Yes. There's a microphone on its way to you.
Hi. I was just wondering, you said you haven't done many films in Romanian. Are you working on anything in Romanian at the moment, or are you looking to do one?
There are a few things I'm thinking about. I've been collaborating with a friend for a short, and we're hoping to shoot it next autumn. And then that might become a long feature film, and he decides so. Then there's a series I've been asked to help create, and I might do that because I'm very interested in the subject matter. It's Romanian. It's going to be made in Romania. Well, finger crossed. But that's about it. I mean, I haven't lived a lot in Romania. I came here when I was very young, so most of my work is in English.
Yes. If you just wait for the microphone, then...
Thank you. I am fascinated about the way you approach learning a new language in which you perform, and the connection you've explained with music. So is it like a pattern you sort of have within you because of your musical training? Because I try to ask myself, are you half Macedonian while looking at the film?
I understand what I'm saying. I understand every word, but I didn't know any word in Macedonian before. Maybe it took me 16 days to learn all the script. Every line, not only my lines. But I'm working like a beast. And that's all I'm doing. I mean, that's my life, basically. Acting that's all I do.
But it's such a different language from your native language.
It's we speak a Romance language. Romanian is Latin, basically. This is Slavic, yeah.
So is that... if you can take us through, how do you... So you get a script in a completely different language. You get it translated into what? English or Romanian?
I got the script in English. Goran wrote it in English because it became his first language. So for him it's easier to write in English. And then it was translated in Macedonian. He can obviously work in Macedonian because he was born there. But our main language is English. So that's how we worked on the script. And then I met this amazing coach, and I had to do it. I was in Skopje, and there was no way back.
But that's a bit like you talked about the music analogy.
It's like
as
sports,
an opera
basically.
singer who might learn to sing something in a language that they don't speak.
Yeah, but it takes years, and it's the thought behind. You know the meaning of what you're saying. You don't think of how difficult it is. You don't analyze it too much. And I'm good with languages. I speak a lot of languages. I understand a lot of languages, and I do speak about 5. So I have an ear for languages because of music, probably. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry?
Right.
Thank you.
Yes, person with why don't you? Well, it's warmed up. Get at the back. Let's take a question at the back first.
Thank you. Hello, Anamaria.
Hello.
Very nice to see you.
Good to see you.
Fantastic movie.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I was wondering about the reception that the movie received in Macedonia, because I bet it deals with topics that are possibly taboo in some parts of society.
They are
there,
taboo. That's why
as
we
they
did
would
this
be
film.
in parts of society in Romania still.
Yeah.
And so I was wondering about.
I know in the rest of the world it seems
Anyway.
like a fashionable subject matter, but actually in Macedonia I think it's one of the few films that is discussing this subject matter. It's a very religious country, very similar to Romania in many ways. Goran is loved there because he's the Macedonian director who was awarded, and the film had already been, I think, it premiered in Venice, and we came back with an award. So I think nobody dared to say anything in Macedonia, but it was a difficult subject matter. Yeah, you don't discuss at home these problems. You don't see it on TV. You don't. Yeah, it's not part of the day-to-day life, really.
Did you see it in the cinema in Macedonia?
No, I couldn't go. I was working on something else, I think. Yeah, I couldn't go in Venice as well because we were on strike. I mean, SAG was on strike. I was very unlucky with this film. I missed London Film Festival here. So this is the second time. The first time, Cristian Mongiu showed it in Romania, which was very kind of him. And this is my second time seeing it with people in the room. So thank you very much.
Yes, do you...
My pick. Yeah. Very powerful film. Thank you so much.
Thank you for
You were
coming.
talking how quickly you learned different languages, but how do you learn the culture? And it's a little bit of follow-up on the previous question about how do you immerse yourself in the culture of the place and in the way of thinking of the people.
I think of people. I think people are more or less the same everywhere. I'm very lucky to have traveled around the world, and I've seen patterns. So I don't play a Macedonian woman. It's me in a situation. I'm not trying to become something else. I don't believe in that kind of, I can have another hair color. I can always do that, but I don't believe in that kind of approach. I don't come to a part from an exterior point of view. I put myself in the situation, and I am Eastern European. I know very well what's happening in Macedonia, actually.
and there's someone else. I think the person with the scarf, you've tried.
It was a follow-up from a previous question. Firstly, amazing powerhouse performance.
thank you so much.
Like, incredible. You own the screen. Just huge hats for that. Beautiful film. Loved it. Thought it was absolutely incredible. Really, really, really loved it. Just off the back of the previous question, but one. Is it going to be screened in Macedonia? Like, how will it be?
Oh, it was huge in Macedonia.
Oh, really? Oh,
we are huge.
Oh,
We're big in
fantastic.
Macedonia.
Oh, that's great to hear. Tell us briefly what happened.
It was great in America. I mean, it wasn't shown here, but we were in theaters. I mean, now it's very difficult to get, but it's we work with Focus. Our first film was with Focus as well. So it was for weeks and weeks in cinemas in New York.
Brilliant.
And yeah.
But in Macedonia itself, like, has it?
Yeah, it was
amazing,
big. Yeah,
amazing.
because
Oh,
we
that's
had like
fantastic.
the queer Golden Lion in Venice, and it was a big deal.
Great.
It's just I wasn't there, so I don't. Well, I got pictures, films, little films. I missed it, but they sure didn't.
But they didn't, and all
Yeah.
good stuff. Part
Yeah.
of a zeitgeist shift, I hope. But yeah, hats really good.
Yeah,
really
so
good
people
stuff.
appreciate it, and it was seen. It was loved. Yeah, both in America and Macedonia.
I also was looking at some of the range of roles you played. You've said you've played in most countries in the world. You've also performed in outer
I
space.
said I
haven't you?
travelled.
Yeah,
in
yeah.
most countries.
No, travelled, and then I guess the work. But you've been to space as well, haven't you?
Yeah, in my imagination. I was in New York actually when I went to space.
Yeah. All right. But also thinking about what you said about performance, of kind of being yourself in a particular situation, but then thinking that situation through. So that's kind of what if I were a witch, or what if I were a social worker, or what if I were...
I think it's the most important question for an actor. What if?
Mm-hmm. And how you talked a little bit when with 4 months, 3 weeks, and 2 days about agreeing with those what ifs and making those same changes, or coming to understand how the role together and how the script might need to shift or adapt. What happens when you have different what ifs to the people you're working with?
It's funny, it won't sound true, but I don't remember being on an unhappy set. Even if the subject matters that I approached, or the stories that chose me, were quite dramatic, I was very lucky. I think I'm quite invisible for some people we don't meet at all, and I'm a very prominent actress for some other people who love me, and I can love back, So I'm there to obviously to build something, and if people wrote something for me, I cannot not respond in kind, So for me, it's not. I'm a very good collaborator. I really believe that. I don't come from a point of view of criticism, or I don't think that about people. I don't. For all of us, it's very, very difficult, I think, to put something together.
And do you think that's also something that comes from a musical training of kind of playing together?
Probably, yeah, because I've done years and years of orchestra, and I didn't think of it like that, but yeah, you're part of a collective. I don't think of anyone less or more, but most of the actors I've worked with are the same, and they're very, very generous, especially in this country, because I came for a mini series called Sex Traffic, and then I did measure at the National Theatre with an amazing company called Complicité, and everybody welcomed me, and I was a foreigner. I didn't speak well the language, I never felt I was regarded as a stranger, though, never.
But that also feels very much about your readiness to collaborate and your openness and your readiness to make things work.
Maybe I don't see myself. I don't know. I love what I do, obviously.
Well, I'm sure there are lots of people here too who have worked or would like to work with Anamaria. But how much longer are we doing for time? We've got a few more minutes, I think.
And then we'll have some wine, maybe.
Yes.
Which is your favorite film out of your films? Or a top 3?
No, I can't answer this question. No. At every point of, in my life, I loved, when I did this was my main interest. Every single one of them is when I make them, and then I don't really watch them anymore. So I have many lovers.
What about other films? You talked about your friend having Brad Pitt's picture on their wall when they were 15. Was there a film that you had a poster you had on your wall, or films that have really inspired you, or when you talked about wanting to be a performer yourself, was it something that triggered that?
Breaking the Waves. I think watching that, and I became friends with Dylan after. It's a very strange life. I saw Breaking the Waves, and it was my first art house movie, I suppose. And I remember the structure, I remember the chapters, and I thought, this is very interesting. And I thought, this is what I think this is what film is about. I think this is what, because it was the first time I was feeling something very powerful. So that was, I remember seeing Breaking the Waves and then kind of helping me decide to.
Because again, you looking at your
Lars von Trier, Breaking the Waves.
Looking at your list of IMDb of perform, you've actually performed in an extraordinary range of kinds of films, haven't you? From art house movies, TV series, Hollywood blockbusters, films where you've kind of your commitments obviously helped a film get made. And it feels like that's also something that you enjoy, that range of...
Yeah, it's just life happening. I mean, I say no a lot, but I wanted to try whatever spoke to me on the page. I did. It's becoming more and more difficult now. For example, if I will ever employ people, I would never audition. I know that. I would never ask an actor to come and be tested. Or I don't believe in that at all. It's very difficult for me to go in a room or to send a tape. We don't go into rooms with people anymore. There's no chemistry. They're not interested in anything like that anymore. It's becoming more and more difficult to do that for things I don't really believe in, or but I would never ask an actor to. Of course, if I would look for someone specific, or I would look for a child, for example, or for a non-professional, yes, I would have to. If it was someone very young, but otherwise I would do my homework and I would invite people to join me.
Is that something you're also interested in doing? Would you like to direct a movie or co-write a movie?
With someone, yeah. I think, again, I'm a very good collaborator. I'm not sure I would like to do this alone. But with someone, probably, yeah.
Right. I think we've probably reached the end of our time. Sadly, I could carry on.
Thank you so much, Adam.
But thank
it's
you
a true
once
joy
again
to have you here.
to Anamaria. And thanks to the London Romanian Film Festival, to the volunteers and to everyone who's really arranged a fantastic festival. Do book up for some other things if you haven't yet.